It's another edition of WRAL Triangle and 2. I'm Mark Bergen. He's the one and only Luis Fernandez, who was baseline at this past weekend's Battle of the Blues. What it means for both Duke and UNC. Luis, we're going to start with Duke. What's your big takeaway after the big rivalry game on Saturday? It was a blowout.
It was. I said this after the game. If you just looked at the final score or looked at the box score, I'm like, 17-point loss. Okay, well, probably a little bit back and forth. It wasn't. UNC went on a little bit of a push in the second half, but the game was already over by that point. They didn't lead for the entire game. Duke led 38 minutes with a lead. So it was just a dominant force from them. I don't really know if there's anything new to take away from what this Duke team accomplished in that game. That's how they've been treating teams throughout the course of the season. They dominate. They are an offensive juggernaut with, especially when Knippel and Cooper Flagg are both going off at the same time. And defensively, they are so incredibly solid. They play team defense. Their length is a massive problem for teams. It's part of the reason why they're, top 5 in most defensive efficiency metrics. I think it was after the game, John Shire said the unofficial count was 32 deflections on UNC passes. Like, it's what they do. They haven't lost since Thanksgiving. And this was just a doubling down of how good this Duke team is and potentially can be for the rest of the season.
Still undefeated in conference play, Lewis. I think there's a real argument that this is the best team in the country. And if not the best, there's a reason why they're number 2 right now.
I still take Auburn. I'd still take Auburn, even though they lost at Cameron Indoor. I'd still take Auburn, but I'm thinking about my bracket already, and I've got a Sharpie, and I'm writing Duke, Auburn, Final Four, national championship game. Like it just feels like a collision course at this point.
Cooper Flagg has been better than advertised, in my opinion. And this is when we were talking before the preseason, Lewis, where we said that experience practicing against Team USA and all the stud players with LeBron and all of these guys, when you get into conference play, we're seeing that come to fruition now. And he's coming off what is one of his best performances this past weekend, where he just dominates in many different facets of the game. And you might think, the big bad rivalry with UNC. And this game was never even close. I mean, maybe at tip-off, but it was just like, Lewis, we'll get into UNC stuff, but the very first basket of the game is a dunk for Duke. It was just like, as soon as the game tipped off, it seemed like the Blue Devils were in control. And Cooper Flagg's been really special, but he's got a lot of really, really talented players around him too. And I think that this is a team we're going to be talking about that makes a deep tournament run come March.
Yeah, it's if you haven't been watching this Duke team very closely, I can totally see the notions of, Duke has, lost early in the tournament before, and are they tough enough? Are they this and that? This Duke team is a different beast. It's a different beast. You've got freshmen like Cooper Flagg and Knippel who just get it, who are so good, who drive this offense. This is not like hey, give Cooper Flagg the ball and let him go to work. It was a little bit of that at the beginning of the year, and I think that's part of the reason why they lost to teams like Kentucky, for example. But I think what has changed so much is now it's driving the offense through Cooper Flagg, through Knippel, where I think it was Duke had 20 assists on 28 made shots, and the two of them combined for 12 of those assists. Flagg's game, I keep like checking with people, like, is this okay to say? It's LeBron-esque. Not to say that he is as talented as LeBron, not to say that he is as athletic as LeBron, but from the way that he controls the game. The offense runs through him, and he just has high effort in all that he does. And they've built such a good mechanism around those two talented freshmen with the transfers. Sion James, Common Malawach, who, is another one of those freshmen.
Did you see the alley-oop dunk? They didn't even play a replay. Like, Duke was dominating so much. Malawach had an alley-oop dunk where I was like, oh my gosh, I want to see this again. But Duke was just running away with it. We never got to see it again.
It was Knippel drove baseline and tossed it to him from 10 feet out. It's just this Duke team is so incredibly legit. On Sunday night I'll stop here because I know I'm rambling here, but on Sunday night on WRAL, I did a little segment where we looked at, there are 9 ACC games left for Duke in their schedule. They have one game against Illinois, like an MSG thrown in there. But they are favored by 93% or more, or they have a 93% chance or higher to win those games based on KenPom in 7 of the 9. And then one of them is 80% chance to win at UNC to end the season. And the most likely chance of a loss is 69%. And that is this Saturday at Clemson. So, I mean, there's a very legitimate chance that Duke is the first team to go undefeated in ACC play since 98, 99. And it was Duke that did it that year.
Wow. Good history there, Lewis. And I'm going to say this too. We're now into the month of February.
Yep.
Once we get by the Super Bowl, we're recording this on Monday, February the 3rd. That Cooper Flagg narrative is just going to continue to grow because football season is going to be past us. What else is there to watch? And for people that are just then flipping over from football to basketball season as we get closer to March, they're going to become more and more and more aware of Cooper Flagg, who has just been spectacular this season for Duke.
He's the national player of the year. Like just
that, and then I mean, one and done. He's going to be the number 1 pick. Lewis, I was out there Tuesday with Shesheskyville and the students and just asking them, hey, what was it like to see the dunk against Pittsburgh? And just the reaction of the students were like, it was absurd. There's no words to describe what he's able to do. And it's not just the scoring ability. It's not just the offense. It's in many different facets of the game where he's leading Duke in scoring, rebounding, assists, and blocks as well. So he's a multifaceted player. And I think that's why your comparison to LeBron, it's not to say he has the athleticism of LeBron or he is LeBron, but that style of basketball player where it's not just one facet of the game.
He leads Duke in every statistical category. Points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. Although Kamen Malawach is 1 block away. So just throwing that out there.
We got to flip this over to UNC's standpoint. Giving up a dunk the first play of the game. At one point, you're down 30. In the first half, there was like a 16-0 run Duke went on, and they're a minute away from the TV timeout. Lewis, I was not there, but I'm just yelling at the TV like, call timeout. Go get your guys back on the bench. Call timeout, and they just let it run. UNC just wasn't even competitive in this game.
I mean, I'm sitting here and I feel bad because we just spent, 7-8 minutes just, lauding over how good Duke is. But UNC didn't do anything to stop it. UNC did not do anything to make you want to stop doing that. Like this game was over at halftime. And for a variety of reasons, defensively, it's a matchup issue. I think that no matter, even if UNC was playing like a top 15 team in the country, this was going to be a problem from them for the very beginning because of the height discrepancies. They flashed up during the broadcast a couple of like graphics comparing the heights, and Duke is the tallest team in the country, and UNC is not the tallest team in the country. So you had those issues, and then on top of it, UNC just is not playing good basketball right now. They've lost 4 of the last 5. Their only win in that stretch is in overtime at home against Boston College, who has a very good chance of not even making the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
They're just not playing good basketball right now. And, I don't even think you can really talk about the NCAA tournament with them. Like, I think that's just, they played an incredibly difficult non-conference schedule, which is going to help them come the end of the season when you're comparing teams and contrasting teams, right? But I don't care. It kind of goes back to like the Alabama football conversation for the college football playoff, right? Where, their strength of schedule was really hard. Their strength of schedule was really difficult. Yeah, you still have to win games. You still have to win games. And they've had so many opportunities. They've been in so many one-possession games. Even last week, you go back to the Pitt game, in Pittsburgh, where they had the lead, they lost the lead, and it was right there for most. They ended up losing by just a couple of points. They've had these opportunities and they fall short. And it's not great. It's not great, Mark, because then you're looking at the possibility of UNC missing the NCAA tournament for the second time in the past 4 years. And honestly, and let's be real, if not for the win at Cameron on Hubert Davis' very first year, the spoiling the party, if you will, of Coach K's final game at Cameron, they were squarely on the bubble. That's what pushed them in. They were squarely on the bubble before that. So they're a lot of bubble plays.
And we know they went to the national championship that year, but 2 in 4 years, maybe for other programs. Lewis, we'll see what the future holds for Hubert Davis. We don't know the answer to that right now of is he going to be the coach next year or not. But missing the tournament in 2 in 4 years at Carolina is going to be one of the most coveted jobs if it in fact opens up. So we'll see about that. Time will tell with that. I had a few other things because you had a lot of great thoughts. Going into the Duke game Saturday, a 13-point underdog. When was the last time UNC was a double-digit underdog to Duke in basketball? Like, that's a lot.
Well, the rivalry has been, over the past, couple of decades, essentially, it's just been known as this constant, tick for tack, back and forth, okay, you win by 7, you lose by 7. You win by 7, you lose by 7. You know what I mean? And now this was different. This was very different. And, it was a microcosm of the season for both of these programs.
Well said. I got one other thing, and I don't agree with this, but it's been a few weeks since we talked, and I knew when I saw this, it was like, this is not going well for the Tar Heels this season. There's some people on Reddit that were saying, bring RJ Davis off the bench, which doesn't make any sense to me. I don't agree with this. You don't bring the reigning ACC player off the bench, but you open up your eyes, Lewis, and it's like, Davis and Cadeau together on the floor at the same time, it just doesn't work given their skill sets. And I'm looking at this game alone, and try not to take away from one game, but minus 13 for Cadeau, minus 26 for RJ Davis. And Cadeau, who's supposed to be your lead guard, has 5 turnovers compared to 3 assists. It's just like, what is going on here? It just doesn't work given they have such similar skill sets in terms of being able to be undersized guards that can drive and kick.
Well, our RJ's a significantly better scorer than Elliott, but
agreed.
It's kind of a bummer because I feel like Elliott Cadeau has been one of the bright spots for UNC over the past few games. During this stretch, he's been doing what he's supposed to be doing, and then he had a bad game. He had that flagrant foul. I think the length of Duke really bothered him, and that's the thing. You knew coming into this season that you had a very talented backcourt with Cadeau, with Davis, with Seth Trimble. But the issue for the most part you were going to be dealing with was being undersized. And it kind of blows your mind because it just feels like the changes have not been made, whether it's now or back at the beginning of the season, to compensate for that, to make up for potential weaknesses. I don't know. It just feels like a lot of trying to do the same thing over and over again and seeing what works.
And we know that burden falls onto them because that's where the talent is on, and this team is the backcourt and not what you've gotten in the front court and the lack of production in the front court.
This is a very talented team. Do not let anyone tell you differently. This is a very talented team, from Davis to Cadeau to Trimble to Ian Jackson. Drake Powell had his moments in the second half. Van Leuben, I think, might have been their best player in this game. This team is talented. They've just been underperforming.
A lot can happen between now and when we get into the conference tournament, Lewis. But as it stands right now, I'll go out and say this. I don't think the Tar Heels are going to make the NCAA tournament. We will see. Barring a miracle run, I don't see it happening.
Here's the thing, Mark, and let me look this up to see if it's changed at all since I looked at it last night. It has. Okay, so there you go. UNC has dropped all the way to number 45 in the net rankings. And net is not everything, but the NCAA tournament looks at it. The NCAA tournament selection committee looks at it. Like I said, they have lost 4 of the past 5. They're 1-9 against quad 1 games or quad 1 teams. A lot of those are tight losses, but there are some games against the highest echelon of teams that they just seem to be out quality. They're not even in the same classification. Alabama, Auburn, Duke. All three of those teams just looked far superior to them when they played this year. They really only have 3 more good opportunities to rack up that resume. You've got home against Pitt, you've got at Clemson, and then you got home against Duke. If you beat those 3 teams, welcome to the NCAA tournament. But has anything that UNC has done so far this year made you think they are going to win those 3 games? No. Maybe they go 1-2, maybe 2-1, but then I feel like they'll probably lose a game they probably shouldn't lose in that stretch as well. And so, I think UNC is who they are at this point in time. There are about 10 games left. You're in February. This is when you need to be playing your best basketball, and we're going to need to see some major changes from Carolina if they want to start playing their best basketball.
Yeah, and then the next question is what does that mean for Hubert Davis's future, which we will see as time, as that goes on, because a lot can happen in a month. I mean, when I first moved here, Lewis, and I point this out, I went to a UNC Louisville game for less than $10, and I couldn't believe it. And they went on the run that they did. So there's a lot of basketball still left to be played, but there's nothing to this point that would point to say, hey, that this Tar Heels team can turn it around.
If they turned it around in the next month, it would be bucking the trend of this entire season. And that's what it comes down to, is you're going to have to see a team be completely different than who they have been. And I don't see it. I don't see it.
He's Luis Fernandez. I'm Mark Berging. Lewis, is there anything you need to plug with your coverage over with WRAL Sports?
No, just go watch WRAL. Check out WRALSportsFan.com. We had some really good stuff this weekend from Cameron Indoor. Brian Murphy had a nice column kind of looking at the clock counting down for UNC's season. I put together a piece on just like how Duke has built a national championship contender. There's a lot of really good stuff, so be sure to check that out.
Yeah, I got one thing to plug as well. I got the opportunity to talk to the students that camp out at Shesheskyville.
Yeah.
120 tents, up to 12 students per tent. Lewis, it was they call them the Cameron Crazies for a reason. It was pretty insane in advance of Saturday's game. So that was a lot of fun, and thank you to the students that I talked to. Seeing their passion is really neat, Lewis.
They had a really cold camping season too. Like I have a lot of things I could say. I'm not going to say them.
He's Luis Fernandez. I'm Mark Bergen. This has been another edition of WRAL Triangle 2. Go leave us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify, and we'll see you next time. Until then, take care. So long, everybody.